In this movie, I'll show you how to reorganize Illustrator's network of panels so that you can get to the program's most important options anytime you like. And I'll also show you how to save the result as what's known as a workspace. Now, as you're probably aware, Illustrator is one of the most complicated programs out there, and it contains thousands of options, some of which are absolutely essential, that are found in panels. And these panels are indicated by these icons in this vertical strip over here on the right-hand side of the screen. And it's a little deceiving, I think, the way Adobe has things set up by default, because these icons end up looking very similar to the tools over here on the left-hand side of the screen, but they actually work nothing like them. So for example, if I click on this first icon, I bring up a panel of color options that will allow me to design a color, in my case using these CMYK primaries. Problem is, even though these panels are really necessary, the way they're set up now, you can only see one panel at a time. So if I click on this icon, which represents the Layers panel, then I'll bring up the Layers panel and I'll hide the Color panel. And by the way, your panel may be much shorter. If it is, you can always make it taller just by dragging on the top or the bottom edge. So for my part, what I like to do is I like to see the contents of more of these panels on the right side of the screen. And I also like to bring up some more panels because after all, if you bring up the window menu, you will see this long list of panels, many of which are essential to getting work done inside the program. And so what I'm asking you to do is trust me on this one and set up your panels the same way I've done, based on essentially half a lifetime of experience working inside this program. And in the end, we're going to end up with this organization here. So we'll have a column of panels that we can see on the right-hand side of the screen, as well as another column of icons. All right, so here's how it works. I'll go ahead and switch back to Essentials, which is the default workspace. And the way that you bring up other panels, incidentally, is to go up to the window menu and choose one of these commands, starting with Actions. So if I choose Actions, I end up bringing up both the Actions and Links panel. And notice that I can move the panels to a different location by dragging their empty title bar right there. Now that's not where I'm going to leave them, but I am going to put them there for a moment. Then I'm going to go ahead and expand this column of panels by clicking on this double arrow icon in the far upper right corner of the screen. Now you may or may not see these color sliders. Right now you don't need them, and you can collapse them by clicking on this little double arrow icon right there. Next, go ahead and click on Color Themes in order to switch to that panel. This is the one and only panel that's up by default that I consider to be ancillary to using the program. We will discuss it in a future course, but for now, just go ahead and drag its title out into the middle of the document window like so in order to free it from the other panels, and then click its close box. And don't worry that you've done that. You can always bring it back by going to the window menu and choosing the Color Themes command. So we're not making any permanent modifications here. We're just streamlining our working environment. All right, now I want you to grab the Swatches tab and drag it and drop it into this group that contains Color and Color Guide. Then click on Color in order to make it active. And that gives us a really huge color field. We'll get to that in a moment. Now what I want you to do is drag this empty area next to Brushes and Symbols, and that'll allow you to move both panels at the same time and drop it into a new column. So see how we have a vertical blue bar? Go ahead and drop the panels into place like so, and then click on this double arrow icon in order to collapse the panels to icons. Now notice you can always expand those panels just a little more so that you can see the names of the panels along with their icons. In my case, I don't have the room, so I'm just going to drag this vertical bar back. So I'm just seeing the icons and nothing more. All right, now you want to grab Graphic Styles right there, this tab, and drag it and drop it into this group. So right below the clover, and that'll group these three icons together. All right, now I want to move both the Appearance and Libraries panels down. And so I'm going to drag this empty area right here and drop it into this group that contains the Layers and Artboards panels. That'll just give us way more room to work. And that does make this color field huge. We don't want that, so just go ahead and drag the bottom edge of that panel upward like so. All right, now I want to move the Appearance panel next door to Layers. So the order is Layers, Appearance, Artboards, and Libraries, and then go ahead and click on the Layers tab to make it active. And incidentally, you can make this panel a little wider by dragging its left edge here so that you can see the names of all of these layers without any of them appearing truncated. All right, now let's build up this column of icons by going up to the window menu and choosing Align, which brings up the Transform, Align, and Pathfinder panels, all of which I consider to be essentials. So grab this empty title tab and drag them and drop them someplace in this column of icons. All right, now we need to bring up the character panel by going to the window menu and dropping all the way down to the bottom. And if necessary, if you've got a short screen like me, you're going to have to click this down pointing arrowhead at the bottom of the menu in order to scroll down, then choose Type, and then choose Character in order to bring up the character, paragraph, and open type panels. Now drag this empty title bar and drop those guys into place. Next, go to the window menu, return to Type, and choose Character Styles in order to bring up these two panels, and go ahead and drag their title bar and drop them into place. Now we need to bring up the Info panel, which will bring up both Navigator and Info, and drag just the Info tab and drop it into place here in this column of icons, and you'll see a little eye inside of a circle. And then return to the window menu. This is actually, believe it or not, our last time, and choose the Document Info command, which brings up both the Document Info and Attributes panels. Drag this title bar and go ahead and drop them into place below the eye. So you want to see a blue square around that eye, and that will go ahead and group those guys together because they're extremely related. All right, now grab the Navigator tab and just drag it and drop it into its own unique group because it's really nothing like any of the other panels. And then grab the empty title bar for the Actions and Links panels and drop them into place right there at the bottom. All right, this is exactly what we want, by the way. So now what we want to do is save this grouping of panels as a workspace. And you do that by clicking on the word Essentials and then choosing New Workspace. And I'm going to dial in 1-on-1 after the name of this series of courses. The name already exists for me, but that's totally fine. This is the way, incidentally, that you update a workspace as well. And so I'll click OK in order to replace the previous 1-on-1. And now notice that I haven't done any harm. I can switch back to Essentials by choosing it once again. It's not going to look any different, and that's because Illustrator was constantly updating the Essentials workspace as I was dragging panels around. But if you want to reset that workspace to its factory default, then you can by clicking on Essentials once again and choosing Reset Essentials. And now you can see those panels as they appeared when you first launched the program. But what we want is the one-on-one space, so go ahead and click on Essentials once again and choose one-on-one, and we will see this much more useful panel organization, at least in my opinion, over here on the right-hand side of the screen. And now I'll press Control-0 or Command-0 on the Mac in order to zoom in on my active artboard, and you can see how nicely it fits with this system of panels. At least, of course, on this screen. And that's how you reorganize Illustrator's panels so you can access the program's very best options anytime you like, as well as how you save this structure of panels as a custom workspace.